Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. So today's video, or today's time frame that we got stuff to do, pretty much going to be a little bit more miscellaneous work. And I have to go down to the store and pick up some more electric. So stay tuned and we'll get started here in a second. All right, first thing I gotta go pick up is I've only got 30 feet of this 2-inch PVC pipe over here for the sump pump. And as you can see, it's kind of making a little swamp over here. The water is never drying out as it flows back through there. Not to mention, that's making like a 2-foot hole down in the ground because the water pushes out so fast. So I'm gonna go get about 30 more feet so we can get it out there and kind of drain it out into the ditch, let this dry up. So not only I can run my tractor through here and mow and stuff, but the other thing is right now this is all hard pipe connected. So I'm gonna have to cut this pipe back right here, put in a rubber coupling. That way I can move this out of the way when I need to. And then as for the electric supplies, I pretty much have decided on how many more breakers I need. For example, I need to pick up 4 30 amp breakers because we've got to get one for the dryer. We've got to get one for the garage mini split. And I think we need at least 2 more for the mini splits that are gonna go down into the basement, and one that's gonna be running the entire house, like in the living room area and stuff. And then I don't know if we're gonna need one for the bedroom too. That will also hopefully feed into the closet and into the master bathroom, but that's gonna be a little bit more tricky. But I'll have to call Supply House, who I'll probably ultimately end up getting my mini splits from, and seeing if you can tie more than one in together, or if you can have one outside condenser that can split over to 2 units. So the Freon hoses basically will be able to go to 2 units with 1 unit, and that's probably possible. But again, the bedroom is a lot smaller than the living room, so I don't know if you can make the units different sizes, or do they have to be equal? Because if that's the case, then the bedroom will be too large or the living room will be too small. So I'll have to call them and see, but ultimately I know how many breakers I need. We've got to go pick up some arc fault and arc fault GFCI, because I would like to put, again, all of the bathrooms and the laundry and dryer room on a GCFI breaker, because they're not going to be connected to a GCFI outlet, because you have to have 2 circuits going to a bathroom and probably a washroom too. Don't know if that's guaranteed, but we might as well just do what we do in the bathrooms, because there is water obviously in a washroom. So we're headed downtown. Stay tuned and we'll be back. Well, that didn't go as planned. Went all the way downtown and tried to get the breakers from my father-in-law's Supply House, which is basically just a massive warehouse of electrical. You can buy anything you can think of, usually more commercial and everything, but they didn't have a single breaker in stock. I wanted a regular 30 amp, again, for the mini splits and the dryer. I wanted arc fault for the outlets. I wanted dual function arc fault and ground fault for the lights, and they had absolutely nothing. So before I went to any store, I looked online too, and no one has anything anywhere. So either my panel sucks, or it's too commercial, industrial, and no one carries it. Most of the stores do have Eaton breakers, but they're called CH type. They're a lot skinnier, and I've got BR type. So they're a full, like, 1 inch thick. But yeah, I'm kind of screwed. I'm gonna try and purchase everything online from any one of the big box stores like Home Depot. Maybe look on Amazon and see what they have. But just to bring something up real quick, it's amazing how people are talking and treating other people nowadays. Not that this first story is bad, but I'm there at my father-in-law's supply house, and young guy walks out and ready to place my order, and I'm like, yeah, I need some 30 amp breakers. And without skipping a beat, within like 2 seconds, he punches it in and goes, son of a effing B, I don't have anything. All right. I cuss more than anybody. I'm an ER nurse. We cuss up a storm, and sometimes we say it too loudly, even at work, and patients' doors are open and people get yelled at, and we always get yelled at for nurses talking too loud at the nurse's station. But I swear, but to say that right to a customer's face doesn't show well for your business. It's not a good look. And he continued to do it when I then asked him for the arc faults or the dual function ground and arc faults. He did the same thing. And I'm like, okay, thanks. It's not like the dude was having a bad day, but it was like I was personally insulting him, or his business was personally insulting him, or making it look like it's a bad look for the company because you don't have anything in stock. And like tone it down a little bit. As for my other story here, this is something I wanted to say, and I actually deleted it in the last video because I was too hot. I keep having problems with Menards. As you guys can see, obviously, all that insulation is gone. I went ahead and returned everything that I didn't want. The online computer, like I said, usually forces you to buy more than what you want. So I wanted 64 bundles originally to insulate the garage and the attic, and the computer ended up making me buy 80. And this happens in store at the building department or when you buy online. Now, again, I told you it made absolutely no sense to make me buy 80 bundles when I only wanted 64. When they came on 8 bundles per pallet, the computer could have just made me buy 9 pallets, which would have only been 72. That would have been a lot closer to 64 than the 80. But no, the computer forced me to buy 80. And as I'm going to return what I didn't want to begin with and what I ended up not using in the walls, they try to charge you a restocking fee of 20%. And this happened on the Fox blocks too. When, again, those come on a pallet and you don't want a full pallet, they're like, well, we have to charge you. And for the insulation, I called ahead of time, talked to the manager in the building department, and he said it's insulation, it'll sell, it's not a problem. Well, turns out when I go there to return it, the assistant store manager is called because the girl at the front desk trying to return it is trying to charge me a 20% restocking fee. And that's who she called, the assistant manager of the store. He comes up and yeah, he's forcing me to pay a 20% restocking fee. And again, I tell him that is not fair. You're making a customer go a month or more, 2 months, over $1,000 out of pocket for insulation or whatever it may be, because it took over a month to ship it. Then for the couple weeks that I have to install it, and I'm returning it well within my 90-day return limit, and you guys are forcing your customers to pay a 20% restocking fee on something they didn't want to begin with, that is not fair. His exact words to me were, you shouldn't have bought to begin with then. Really? Okay. So that's your attitude? Then I will never be purchasing or visiting Menards ever again. Over $200 of stuff that we're talking about for a return on a customer, I am no longer going to be visiting Menards anymore. I am building a couple $100,000 house, and if anyone else is watching this video and also decides, you know what, boycott them with me. Because if that is your attitude and how you treat customers over $200, then you've just lost probably $200,000 worth of further stuff that I need to purchase for this house. So your wish has been granted, sir. I've already tried to call corporate. You cannot get a hold of anyone. They automatically send you to a voice system that says if you've got a compliment or a complaint, you have to write us a letter. I did grab one of the letters from inside of there and wrote a pretty nasty letter to corporate. I highly doubt anything will come of this, but seriously, over $200, that's your attitude and how you're going to treat people? Well, welcome to this day and age, everybody. The customer is never right. It's always going to be corporate greed, and everyone is going to get salty at anything that you say, like you're personally attacking them, and it's got nothing to do with the business. It's like you've just basically said that their baby was ugly, or you said their dog was ugly, or something that you just personally attacked them, and that's how they're gonna think for this day and age. So everyone else out there in this day and age, good luck with whatever you've got going on, because this is seriously the crap that we live in now. So because I can't get my electric stuff done today, this video is going to turn into finishing painting the house. So we went ahead and we picked up the 695 Graco paint sprayer. We're gonna go ahead and bust out the rub-bar wall. I just gotta find my mixer and my tip for that type of paint. And we're gonna go ahead and tape the front windows up. We're gonna get started and we're gonna paint this house. It just keeps popping the GFCI. I don't get it. Can anyone explain that? Why would the GFCI outlet be tripping and not the breaker? Seems like when you put too much power through there, it trips. Yet, I don't know what it'd be ground faulting on, but I don't know, maybe something's wrong with it. But seems to be spraying okay now in a pattern. So let's go ahead and do some test spots here and see what the hell happens. So the good thing about the rubber wool is it will not run. So when I'm finding cracks that I didn't get mastic in, you can pretty much just turn the gun in line with the crack, hold it there for a second and kind of go back and forth, just real minuscule, and it'll pretty much cover up to like 1/8 of an inch. But I tried to fill anything 1/8 of an inch or larger up with the mastic so that I didn't have to do that. But again, because it doesn't run, just hold it there on a crack or even a hole where a screw went through, back and forth real quick, it'll glob it in there, and then you're done. All right, back of the house is done. And obviously I didn't go all the way up there because I'm not worried about waterproofing up there. But I wanted to hit around all of the wooden bucks to the actual ICF blocks. So that way I was more air sealing than anything. So this whole back wall now is pretty much waterproofed and air sealed. When we put our siding on, if there's any leaks, we should hit that and run on down. And unfortunately, I'm gonna run out of paint. So I'm just gonna do this back wall here, only up to where the transition is, and then we'll go around to the front. right, everybody, another day. Just taking a look at everything out here. Looks pretty good. Everything's very uniform. There's a few spots where the hose brushed up, or looks like there's about 20 moths or so that got stuck on the paint last night, and some of those silver maple whirly birds got stuck, so we'll have to brush them off when the paint cures a little bit harder. And right now the best thing for it is the sun. It'll dry it out the quickest. But this side over here looks pretty good. Like I said, just a few spots that need touched up with a paintbrush. And unfortunately, I don't have too much left, but there is 1 gallon up front that paint sprayer can't get to the last like gallon or so. So got plenty to touch up with a paintbrush. Unfortunately, I did lose about 2 or 3 gallons when one fell over. So I could have gotten a little bit more done last night. But if you saw in the video, I kind of ran out on that last spot over there, where again, the paint sprayer can't pick up like the last gallon and a half, it seems like. So tried hitting it with a brush last night. With a brush, you can't get it uniform. So you got to wait for 1 coat to dry and then you can hit it again. But I'll get a paintbrush now, hit a little bit more on these spots, like I said, up here in this corner that I couldn't get to. And then we should be good to go. We should be ready for some siding. We should be ready for putting on the gemstone down here in the garage and kind of working our way that way, which that gemstone again is going to go up to the bottom of these windows, and it's going to shoot straight across and pretty much meet where the deck is. Obviously the deck's a little bit taller, but it'll work out once we get our siding and stuff on. So I'm gonna tidy that up real quick and then we'll see what else we can do today. All right, looks good. And like I said, got all the spots touched up. What I really wanted to hit, like you can see right here, where this window buck is and where the ICF meets, now that's completely sealed. That is so thickly built up, especially like right there. That is so solid that there's nothing gonna get in there. So as long as we spray foam behind the door and all the windows properly, where those items will meet the wood bucks, we should have no air infiltration, we should have no bug infiltration, and we've essentially made that wood now part of the ICF. So again, air sealing and everything with this stuff is just so super easy. The only thing I have to take care of, just to be 100%, is I either have to get up there and cut back all that foam and concrete on the outside, even though there's 3 big beads of spray foam in between the concrete and the top plate, or I can just do it easier on the inside and just go ahead and use caulking and just caulk the wood on the inside to the ICF, because I'm fairly confident that's 100% airtight, but using some caulking on the inside before we drywall will just make that spot even that much better. Oh, and just to hit on that topic a little bit more, activating that paint sprayer yesterday, when it was trying to charge up and load, it sounded like it was really struggling and dying. And then whenever I kind of turned the speed up to make it go a little faster, again, it kept popping a GCFI outlet in the basement. And I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but we've got 2 GCFI outlets down in the basement. Unlike that 2 gang over here, where a GCFI is feeding a regular plug, we've got 2 GCFI outlets going to 2 different breakers. So that way, if all of those were on one, we would only have 20 amps for all 4 of those outlets. And if the sump pump kicks on the same time the compressor's running and the same time like I go to use the chop saw, and if I'm working at night and I've got that halogen light on, I'm gonna trip the breaker at 20 amps. So we've got 2 outlets on one breaker and 2 outlets on another. So that 2 gang down in the basement pretty much acts as my temporary panel now. I've got 40 amps of power that I can use. And those GCFI outlets down in the basement, they were purchased at different times, so they are 2 different kinds. So I don't know if that new one is just crazy sensitive or something, but again, it still doesn't make sense that the ground fault is tripping. If that pump was struggling and needing power and it was going over 20 amps, that would make sense that the breaker would pop. But I can't for the life of me think why that GCFI is popping. with the electrical cord plugged back into it and running the lights and the chop saw and the air compressor, there's no problem. So something with that pump and that outlet, they were not happy yesterday, and I can't figure it out. The only thing I have to do real quick today is we got to finish the beadboard all the way around the doors here, and I still have to drywall this lower piece right here from there all the way over to the steps, because Fred, my drywall guy, is coming tomorrow. So I've actually got to go down to a neighbor also and pick up some scaffolding that he said that I could rent or borrow. And then Fred can get up and get all the way up to the ceiling. Hopefully it's tall enough. If not, we'll have to figure something out. But we just got to finish that for him, finish the beadboard from him, and then tomorrow we're getting this thing taped and mudded, and then we can start on paint and getting this garage that much closer to being complete, because I think we're about 3 weeks out now that our garage doors are going to be delivered. And wait till you guys see those. They are going to be not only freaking awesome, but with the side mount motors that are going up there, there's going to be basically little to no track above our head. The doors are going to try and go as straight up as possible, and then a little bit of a curve. So over here, there'll be no hindrance of like a car lift or anything hitting those things, or hitting a motor supported in the middle. So I cannot wait to get this garage buttoned up and that much more sealed up. And then we can start talking about mini splits and actually having some heat and some cool in the garage. All of the beadboard is now done. So we are ready for Jeff tomorrow, or Fred tomorrow, to come over and mud and tape. The only thing I still have to do, again, is this lower. I've got to get these panels out of the way. No clue where I'm going to put them. I guess maybe over there, and we'll throw these outside. But real quick, something I want to show you. Did a few days ago, and they weren't working because I think it was too cold out. The day that I put them in, that night, it dropped to 40 degrees and nothing was working. But now that the temperature is kind of normalized and it's probably 65 right now, or maybe 70, they're working flawlessly. So if we go ahead and enter the house, what do you guys notice? Oh yeah, automatic lights. So we've got one installed over here when you walk in, and that second one that kicked on is over there in the pantry. So obviously that one's not gonna kick on unless you open up the pantry door. Aaron insisted on that one because we have one in our pantry now in the RV. You open up the door and it automatically kicks on. So we'll continue to have that feature. The only thing I haven't done, maybe made a mistake with this, or maybe I can get away with it and not get caught by the county. Well, obviously, when you enter into the laundry room from this way, you've got a light switch right there. But when you enter in from the laundry room through this doorway right here, you don't have a light switch. Well, I'm hoping, because the light switch is over there and it's automatic, as soon as that door moves or that catches any motion, it's gonna automatically kick on. So maybe that will pass, or maybe not, because they can make the argument that if someone changes that out one day, if it breaks, then you don't have a switch on this side. But technically speaking, you should always have a motion activated switch that will never go out of stock. Or, I mean, I'm sure there's different makes and models that will be made 20 years from now, but who knows? But they work great. It's got a 30-foot range on it. For example, I can go down here in the basement and it catches me all the way over here. So don't tell me that when I open up the laundry room door, it's not gonna work, because it's going to. And then another mistake, I don't know if I'll get away with this one too. Obviously, because this wall isn't built yet, I don't have a light switch here. So when you leave the laundry room, there's no light switch on this wall yet because the wall's not built, but I'm trying to maybe see if I can get away with that too, because that light is bright enough that it's gonna shine into the mudroom, and all you have to do is literally take 4 feet over to here, and you've got the mudroom light right there. So don't know, again, if that will pass, if they'll want another one, which means I'll have to pull that wire and run a 3-way, but I don't know, it is what it is. Then this last switch over here, I've got a light right above us as you kind of enter into the kitchen kind of area. We've got 2 4-inch lights above where the stove's gonna go, and I did vote for 2 more. So I'm gonna get those installed now and put them up equal with these 4-inch here, but I'm gonna put it more towards the living room that way. And then Aaron wants some island pennant lights that are gonna hang down, which will be run on this third switch over here. This one I will probably put on a dimmer because she keeps yelling at me for not putting things on dimmers. But at least with the pennant lights, we'll keep them low, more like an ambiance type light. So 2700 Kelvin, as opposed to right now, everything in here is kind of set to 4000. But that way you come out here in the middle of the night or morning and it's light out, you can keep those on a dimmer or keep those very low light and not blind yourself.
Are you going to put the chandeliers on a dimmer?
What chandeliers?
The chandeliers that we will have.
I don't know, we'll see. Oh, I think, what do you think, living room lights? Because that's only a 3 gang, we might have to put a single here, anywhere along this wall to control any of the living room lights. And we can put that on a 3-way also that will go over to here. And not only can it turn on the living room lights, but it can also turn on the fireplace accent lights. So I don't know, what do you think about that?
We're probably gonna have to.
Have to or want to?
Want to.
I don't know, I mean, you don't have to come all the way over here to flip a switch for the living room. You can go over there. It's not like the kitchen lights don't light your way over there to this switch panel. And then I guess technically when you leave here and you turn on this guy, that lights your way up too, that you don't have to go over to there to flick it. So if you do put these on a 3-way, you can flick this one too as soon as you leave the office. So I don't know. My in-laws got a new dining room table, so they gave us this old one that...
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Don't know if we'll keep it because I personally want a 13-footer or so, like the length of this window here. And they said that's already set at its max length.
I think so.
Yeah.
But it's nice and it was free, so we will use it for now.
And we don't have a living room table. I'll show you pictures right up above right now, but this is all the old furniture that I made in my old house. So that's my kitchen table. And then several other things that I made, but when we sold our house, they negotiated into the price to give us more money, which was already above asking, to keep all the furniture. So we gave away several pieces.
Sold. Technically,
well, sold. Yeah, they gave us money for it, but we did sell a lot of pieces. So that kitchen table though was kind of cool. It was a all steel framed L channel that I welded together, OSB on top, and then I used porcelain tile that looked like wood and glued it down in to the top and sealed it.
Pub height, like a pub table.
Yeah, and it was pub height, and the chairs were really tall, so you actually had to be like an adult to sit up on the table, or else it wouldn't really work for kids being so high up. But it was cool. I loved it. And I'll be making some more furniture here too. I haven't made anything obviously in a long time, but when we start making stuff in here, and when Erin shows me stuff that's like $1 million, and I'm like, I got that. She actually ends up loving it more. So we'll see what I have to do with that. And then on a good and bad note, I can't remember if I've mentioned this before, but we got some news back from the people that we bought our windows from. And apparently, Geldwin has a clause with them too. That window over there that's broken, getting replaced for free. They're gonna come out and actually do it themselves, so that's another bonus. I don't have to worry about trying to take it off the hinges and put a new one on, so should come with a full warranty, just like nothing ever happened, so that's awesome. But the only bad thing about our window supplier is they told me that when they delivered all of the windows and the back door, that we're gonna go ahead and keep all your hardware. And that was because they don't wanna get it lost, broken, or whatever. The screens, obviously, you don't want to have those leaning up something and getting hit. We got to get rid of these plastic little turn dials down here because they take absolutely forever to open these windows, as opposed to a big long crank that will be a heck of a lot easier. And then all the windows come with these locking mechanisms that you put in down here, and you pull it up, pull it down, and it locks or unlocks all 3 hinges up in that window. Well, first off, They have lost, misplaced, or apparently they never had anything, because I said, I gotta have these. I want these now. Just come deliver my cranks, my screens, and everything. And they're like, we don't have it. What do you mean you don't have it? You did have it, and you said you were keeping it, so you either gave it away to somebody else, or you never had it to begin with and you lied to me about it. So I have no idea when any of my hardware for my windows and doors are showing up. And again, the reason why I want these things is because these came with the windows, they're plastic. Every single one of them has broken. Now, why are they breaking? Well, the best thing that I can understand is because these windows are 6 foot tall, the top latch doesn't really latch as easy as the middle and the bottom one. So as you spin the crank in, you're getting a real tight seal down here, and then a looser seal, and then a really loose seal up there. It's almost like the window up here needs like a suction cup put on it, so you can pull it back in more to the frame, and then you can hit the latch mechanism. Well, if that's the case, that really sucks, because it's going to constantly be an issue trying to push that and latch it. But what they did for me was they came over and stopped by, and they brought me one of these ones, which is actually made of steel. So this one won't break. But again, even if you have the window open, and we'll go ahead and test it out right now. We crank it open, no big deal. And then we go ahead and we close it. There's definitely a tiny, tiny little gap up there as opposed to there is here. And then when you use the steel one and close it, you definitely have to put some force into it. That one actually wasn't so bad. But as you can see, yeah, I still snapped that piece, and I snapped every single one of them in the garage. So I wanted my hardware. That's when I found out that they don't have any of my stuff. And I don't know, I'm kind of annoyed about that, because the screens in particular, Aaron and I paid a pretty decent upgrade for the screens. They're like the micro thin ones, so you can have the screen in here and it'll look like there's no screen in there at all, and you guys basically don't have any of my stuff. So where is it? What's going on? And yeah, I don't know, that's not cool. All right, now we're getting some light in here. Just installed 2 more 4-inch pot lights, like I said. They're kind of splitting evenly. They're not almost to the edge there. They're kind of even where the island's gonna be. So when we have the pendant lights hang down here, those 4 will kind of split those pendant lights almost equally, but I can always move them. The wires are set, but there's enough length in there that we can, before we drill the hole in the real drywall, then we know where to go. But these 5 are gonna be all on their own switch. So when we power that down, that pretty much shuts off the entire kitchen. But with it on, perfect amount of light. And then last thing, we went ahead and changed out the master closet light. Aaron wanted more of a chandelier drop down kind, but sometimes you gotta save some money somewhere and maybe get more of a badass chandelier like up here when you walk into the house. But this one is just a metal cage, matte black. It's got 3 bulbs in it, and they hang down from the ceiling. So I just got done installing it, so I'm gonna kick it on here in a second. But the light bulbs that we went with, they're only 60 watt, but that flat one was 65, but only was putting out like 1,063 lumen. Each one of these bulbs is putting out 800 lumen. Now, the only thing that sucks about light bulbs nowadays is these were very hard to find. They pretty much only have like 2,700 Kelvin warm light, or they have 5,000 like daylight. That doesn't really give you a whole lot of option. I didn't want 2,700 Kelvin in the master closet, because again, when you're picking out your clothes at night, you know, for the morning or whatever, if we put a mirror in here, you want to see what you look like, and 2,700 is just nowhere near to daylight. I would like something more around like 35 to 4,000, but we only found like one packet of lights that is actually called bright white instead of soft white, and these are only 3,000, so they're only 300 more than the 27, but I'm definitely not doing 5,000 Kelvin in a closet. That makes no sense, but fingers crossed, everything works, and we get some light in here, so let's see. Oh, that's much better. Much, much better. So 2,400 lumen in here pretty much lights everything up. You can see, maybe not on camera, but we pretty much got rid of the shadowing up into the corners. So that is a heck of a lot better. That's nice. That thing's cool. That'll do fine in the master closet. Again, may have trumped or over trumped Aaron on that decision. Again, just to save some money. That thing was only $89, and it's gonna give us the light that we need. So as you can see though, it's definitely a softer white, or yeah, I guess you'd call it white, a soft white, as opposed to right now I've got all of these set to 4,000. So you guys may not be able to tell that, but Aaron and I can definitely tell a difference. Like the entrance light over here, I've got set, I think, at 35, while over there in the office, I've got it set at 4,000. So just in the living room, if we have that light on, it's a little bit softer and a little bit more inviting. But in the office, when we're doing work and making YouTube videos, we need a little bit more daylight, and that's why I've got everything pretty much set to 4,000. But those are definitely more yellow, but they are LED, so they won't cost us anything to light up. And I would say for right now, this is perfect working environment. I've got enough light in here now that I don't need to do any more. So Erin can take her time, and we don't have to jump and buy a chandelier over there. We don't have to jump and buy a chandelier over the dining room, and Erin can take her time picking her pendant lights above the island there. But the only other thing that we have to do as for lighting wise is I did buy 2 more gimbals, and they're going to be going up there and accenting the fireplace. So that is one more set of lights that I can run. But other than that, I think I'm going to call today a wrap. I've got everything done that I want to get done. It all looks real good. And I think bright and early, Fred's going to be here, and we're going to start the drywall, and I'll probably be working on lighting or helping him out in the garage. So we'll see. Until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.